Chapter 4. Grayson? I called from the bottom of the stairs.
In the kitchen.
He answered. I followed the path most likely heading to the kitchen. The house was large enough to take a wrong turn and get lost. I found him sitting in a chair facing a sunny window. He sipped coffee as he stared out at the landscape.
The coffee is ready,
He said, continuing his watch over the crater. I grabbed a mug. Before I could pour the coffee, I began having second thoughts. Grayson was obviously not in the mood for visitors. His presence loomed. I think I'll go, I said, retreating from the kitchen. He took another sip of coffee before setting the mug down on the table. He turned his piercing gray eyes on me.
Are you running away again?
I didn't run away, I argued with a quickness that confirmed that yes, I did run.
Yes, you did.
I needed time to think. He relaxed in the chair and stretched out his legs. My gaze traveled over his shirtless chest and arms. There's something intriguing about a man wearing only faded jeans. Even his bare feet seemed more exotic. I caught myself staring.
I've been thinking too.
He said, snapping me from a pleasant trance. And digging a crater, I added.
It's a pond.
Sure, that was my next guess, I teased. A gruff laugh followed by a tired but carefree smile had me stepping farther into the kitchen. He was impossible to resist. Grayson stood and made his way to the coffee. As he poured a cup and handed it to me, he said,
It may sound insane, and maybe it is, but I had to do something.
Because you don't have a job? He nodded warily.
Among other things.
Meaning me? I surmised. Although I had never wanted to hurt him, I was left with a warm feeling that I was actually missed.
I never realized how much time I spent working. All of a sudden, I was left without a reason to get up in the morning.
What do you mean?
Before, the only thoughts running through my head were about work. And you, when I surfaced long enough to have a separate thought. I've never had a hobby. Work was my job, my hobby, my family, my life. Once it was gone, I found myself in withdrawal. I couldn't eat or sleep. I paced until my feet were numb. One night I found a shovel and began digging. Maybe it was just to stop the feeling of loss for a moment.
He shrugged as if still feeling the loss.
To only feel the weight of the dirt and the shovel in my hands was calming, if not a little insane. At one point I wondered if there was a Workers Anonymous I could join.
I'm sorry I didn't contact you, I said. I didn't realize the change would be so hard. I guess I never imagined what it would be like to give up a career. He shook his head.
Don't apologize. When I quit, I thought I was giving up a life of numbers and could slip into a different life without so much as a misstep. I pushed my feelings and my desires on you without thought.
He brushed the back of his fingers against my cheek.
I'm glad you weren't around to see me these last few days.
Well, if I was around, I doubt you'd be pacing the floors.
Why is that?
Because I know of a hobby you excel at. His lips twitched up as he stepped closer.
That would have been better than digging. Unfortunately, I think I would have worn you out after the first day. You'd have run away just to get some rest.
But it would be excellent therapy, I said with a smile. A sly smile appeared.
Are you offering therapeutic services?
Let's just say, I'd like to start over. I eyed him for a reaction.
Really? What did you have in mind?
We've been through a lot, both together and apart, but we never had a chance to date. I think it's put some unnecessary stress on our relationship, or whatever it is that's happening between us. So, I'd like to propose we go on a date. No strings, no complications, just you and me going on a night out. With no shovel. He grinned.
I'd like that.
Good, I said, grinning as well. Finally, a step in the right direction.
I'm sorry, but I don't have your money, Nadia.
Caleb said when he answered the door. Worry lines I've never witnessed before etched his brow. I didn't come for money, I said, though now I was glad I stopped by. It took courage and a string of swears to make me wrench open the car door and walk to his place. After another string of swears and a deep breath, I had finally knocked on his door. It's not that I didn't want to see him. Of course I wanted to see him. It was the awkward way we'd parted a week before. While Grayson attempted to call several times during my disappearance, Caleb never called once. I wasn't sure if he was giving me space or giving up on me altogether. Either way, the car ride over was stressful. By the time I pulled in front of his condo, my hands were strangling the steering wheel, turning my knuckles white.
Oh,
He said, allowing me through.
I'm still sorry. I try to settle my markers as soon as possible.
You don't have to worry. Like I said, I'm not here for money, and I know you're good for it. He rubbed his jaw with a weary sigh.
Actually, I'm not.
That caught my attention. Did you have a bad run? I asked, wondering if his luck had taken a nosedive. It's been known to happen before, but to Caleb?
No, but it's gone. All of it.
I don't understand. How is all of your money gone? I asked. Caleb continued rubbing his jaw.
I don't know. I called Jessica the morning after you won. I was hoping she could drop off a cashier's check, but she didn't answer.
Has she returned your call?
No, I haven't heard from her, so I went to the bank to get the cashier's check myself. They said my accounts were at zero.
Zero. What are you going to do? I asked, floored and confused. He shook his head.
I don't know. I was hoping Jessica would return and explain, but she's gone.
Is the bank investigating? Did you call the police? I asked. It wasn't even my money, and I was panicking. I didn't know Jessica well, but I never thought she'd steal money. She was too focused on her PR work. Perhaps she'd become tired of dragging Caleb around so he could get rich while she did all the work. People have been known to steal for less. But Jessica?
The bank is checking into it. I didn't call the police because I thought she'd call and it'd be a big misunderstanding.
He ran his fingers through his already tousled locks. She didn't call, did she?
No.
Let's go, I said, hurrying out the door.
Go where?
To the police station, of course,
You don't have to worry. I'll get your money somehow.
he said, rubbing the back of his neck.
It just may take me a little while to climb my way back to the high-stakes table.
I don't give a damn about the marker, I said, frustrated that he would concern himself with something so trivial when he'd lost millions. How many millions, I wasn't going to ask. I think I would truly be ill. But it must be around 5 million, I would think. Maybe a little more judging by the many tournaments he'd won. You don't owe me anything. His brow furrowed.
But I do.
No, you don't, I sighed. I came over to ask if we could start over and forget past debts and wagers. I want to go on a date with you, a real date. No strings, no commitments, just you and me enjoying a night out. That sounded familiar. Did I use the same line on Grayson? Don't think about it, I warned myself. It's the only plan I have, and I'm plowing ahead. A hollow laugh filled him.
Unless you're taking me out on a date, I'll have to decline. I don't have 2 pennies to rub together.
A warm gaze landed on me.
But I would love to.
I asked you out, so it's my treat. But you'll have to be a cheap date. He smirked.
I've never been cheap, though I'll make an exception for you. If you play your cards right, you may even get lucky.
You shameless hussy, I teased. He took my hand as we walked out the door.
I'm glad you came over.
I'm always happy to help a damsel in distress. He chuckled and wrapped his arm around my shoulder. I wandered around the waiting area at the police station. Caleb was talking to a detective and I didn't want to get in the way. Plus, my nerves were so frazzled I'd electrocute someone on contact. You'd think it was my money that was stolen the way I was pacing. I passed the wanted billboard for the 20th time. Muffin's wanted poster was still hanging there, making me wonder when her little piñata was going to make a break for it. I hope she follows him back to California. If not, I'll have to come up with a plan to remove her. The reward looked mighty good right now, especially if Caleb needs a little to tide him over.
Trouble follows you,
A voice said. I turned to find a gypsy woman, the same gypsy woman who had told me I was going to get married that same day. She had the same intensity now as when she had made her past prediction. It was unnerving. However, her outfit was so outrageously colorful it made me relax. It had to be a costume.
I was hoping you would have shaken them by now,
She said, stepping closer. Excuse me? I asked, wondering if I'd heard her correctly. Why is she here again? Is she a stalker? Is she a fraud? I scanned her. She didn't look like a stalker. Not that I know what a stalker looks like. Hard to say if she's a fraud. Her colorful garment clashed with her pale, drawn face.
It's not your fault, you know. It's the spirits surrounding you.
She made a sweeping gesture to indicate they were, indeed, surrounding me.
They're quite dark and mischievous.
You told me I was going to get married.
Yes, I'm sorry it didn't last, but it's for the best. The spirits aren't quite done with you.
I truly don't believe in spirits and fortune tellers, but I have to admit I've had a lot of bad juju lately. I glanced over at Caleb, wondering if I had spread my bad luck to him. Hopefully not. His cheery, carefree days would be over. I'd never want him to lose his infectious smile, although I wouldn't have nearly as many women to compete against. Funny, I never felt in competition. The woman followed my gaze.
Don't worry about him. He's practically glowing with positive energy.
Then why was his money stolen? That doesn't seem positive. An odd twinkle sparkled in her dull eyes.
Sometimes misfortune creates the best fortune. There is wisdom to gain from hardships. It creates openings for possibilities. The same goes for the other man you hold in your heart.
How did she know? Oh, she's good. She must have read my body language. I couldn't help but smile at her. She reminded me of a bright, jingling Yoda. Even if what she says is nonsense, it still made me feel better. I didn't want to be the cause of anyone's misfortune. I'll accept whatever lie I'm fed. It's easier that way. Why are you here again? I asked. Do you have mischievous spirits too?
I come in once a week and tell the officers things I see. They don't take me too seriously, but they listen enough to stumble upon leads.
She explained with a knowing smile.
Don't worry, I won't tell them who you're hiding.
I'm not hiding her. She's taken over. Wait. I eyed her. How did you know?
It's quite obvious.
She said with a wave as though tired of always having to explain.
I'd keep her around for a little while longer.
I don't want to. She's such a nuisance, I said. Caleb could really use the reward money.
He'll be fine, and so will you. Eventually, you'll see.
Eventually? If eventually was tomorrow, I'd be thrilled. But the look in her eye told me I'd be 6 feet under if I held my breath for eventually.